March 15th, 2024, my 70th birthday. I sat at the dining room table, the same table where I'd served 40 years of family dinners, birthday cake in front of me, 70 candles. My son David and his wife Jennifer sat across from me. Their kids, Emma and Lucas, were already running around the living room. "Make a wish, Mom," David said. I closed my eyes. I wished for things to get better, for the tension in the house to ease, for my son to look at me the way he used to. I blew out the candles. Emma and Lucas cheered. Jennifer cut the cake with efficient movements. She'd bought it from the grocery store. Vanilla. Not my favorite, but I didn't say anything. "So, Mom," David said. He cleared his throat. "Jennifer and I have been talking." I felt something tighten in my chest. That phrase, "we've been talking." It never meant anything good anymore. "We think it would be better if you moved to the basement bedroom," Jennifer said. Her voice was bright, cheerful, like she was offering me a gift. I stared at her. "The basement? It makes sense," David said quickly. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "You don't need all that space upstairs, and the kids are getting bigger. They need separate rooms." "But that's my bedroom," I said. "I've slept in that room for 40 years. "It's safer for you down there," Jennifer added. "No stairs to worry about getting to the main floor. Everything's on one level. The bathroom is right there." I looked at David, my son, the boy I raised alone after his father died. "You want me to sleep in the basement?" "It's temporary," he said, but his voice was weak, uncertain. "Just until we figure things out." "We've already set it up for you," Jennifer said. "Fresh sheets. We moved some of your things down earlier." Earlier, while I was at my doctor's appointment, while I was out of the house. "Come on," David said. He stood up. "Let me show you." I followed him through the kitchen, down the basement stairs. Each step creaked under my feet. The air got colder. I could smell it, damp, musty, 40 years of storage and forgotten things. At the bottom, David flipped a switch. A single bare bulb lit up, harsh light. Concrete walls, a small window near the ceiling, ground level outside. I could see feet walking by on the sidewalk. In the corner, they'd set up a bed, my old guest room bed, metal frame, thin mattress, a nightstand, a lamp, a box of my things. "See?" David said. "It's not so bad. You've got everything you need." I walked to the bed, sat down. The mattress was harder than I remembered, colder. I could hear footsteps overhead, laughter, my family, my birthday party, without me. "I'll let you get settled," David said. He was already backing toward the stairs, eager to leave. "Let us know if you need anything." He left. I heard his footsteps fade. The basement door closed at the top of the stairs. I sat there, looking around. This was my house. I'd bought it in 1984 with my late husband Tom. We'd raised David here. Painted every room, built the deck, planted the garden. 40 years of memories in these walls. And now I was in the basement. I looked at the box they'd packed for me. On top was a photo, my wedding picture. Tom and me. 1976. Young. Happy. I picked it up, held it. "I'm sorry, Tom," I whispered. Above me, I heard furniture moving, scraping, bumping. They were already rearranging my bedroom. Jennifer was moving in, taking over my space, my life. I sat there on that basement bed for a long time. The cold seeped into my bones. I could hear everything, every footstep, every conversation, muffled, distant, like I was underwater. That's when I realized something. I was invisible. I'd been erased, carefully. Quietly. Moved down here like old furniture. Out of sight. Out of the way. I looked at Tom's photo again. 40 years ago, we bought this house. We owned it. Together. And when Tom died 8 years ago, it became mine. Just mine. Mine. I sat there in that basement bedroom, listening to my family celebrate my birthday upstairs without me, and I made a decision. I didn't know exactly what yet. But something had to change. I couldn't live like this, in the dark, in the cold, invisible in my own home. Something had to change. Let me tell you how we got here. This house, 4-bedroom colonial in suburban Ohio. Tom and I bought it in 1984, $89,000. It felt like a fortune then. We were young. I was 29. Tom was 32. We had a baby boy named David, and we had dreams. We painted every room ourselves, built the deck in the backyard, planted roses along the fence. Tom used to say, "This is our forever home, Maggie. We'll grow old here." He was right about the house, wrong about the growing old together part. Heart attack took him 8 years ago, 62 years old, gone in an instant. I raised David in this house, alone, after Tom died. David went to college, got married, started a business. I was so proud. Then 3 years ago, everything changed. David called on a Tuesday. "Mom, can we stay with you, just for a few months, 6 months tops, while I get back on my feet?" His business had failed. He'd filed for bankruptcy, lost everything. His house, his savings. He sounded broken. Of course I said yes. He's my son. He needed help. That's what mothers do. David moved in with Jennifer, his wife of 18 years, and their 2 kids. Emma was 4 then. Lucas was 2. They brought boxes, furniture, toys. "Just temporary," Jennifer kept saying. "We'll be out of your hair before you know it." That was 3 years ago. Let me tell you about Jennifer, 42 years old. She'd been a sales manager before the kids came, made good money. She liked that life, the nice house, the new cars, the private school tuition. When David's business collapsed, she had to give all that up. She resented it. I could see it in her eyes every day. She blamed David for the failure, and somewhere along the way, she started blaming me too, for not having a bigger house, a nicer guest room, for existing. Jennifer's goal was simple: control the household, control the future. She saw this house as hers, not mine, an inheritance waiting to happen. She wanted me out of the way, not dead, just diminished, invisible. And my son David, 45 years old, he used to be confident, ambitious, but the business failure broke something in him. He lost $180,000, his savings, money from investors, friends who'd trusted him. He filed for bankruptcy. The shame ate him alive. He went into a depression. He never got treatment. We couldn't afford therapy. Insurance didn't cover it. David's goal was to rebuild, to be the man he used to be, but he was drowning. And instead of swimming, he let Jennifer make all the decisions. He stopped looking me in the eye. He let her run the house, run our lives. He was weak, and weakness, I've learned, can be just as destructive as cruelty. Let me show you the numbers. 3 years of free housing. Market rate for a 4-bedroom house in our area, $2,400 a month. That's $86,400. Groceries, I paid for everything. $800 a month, $28,800. Utilities, electric, gas, water, internet, all in my name, $300 a month. $10,800. David's car insurance, I covered it. $2,400 a year, $7,200. Jennifer's credit card. She maxed it out on Christmas presents last year. I paid it off, $6,000. Total, $133,200 over 3 years. I thought I was helping my son rebuild. I thought I was being a good mother. I didn't realize I was funding my own erasure. It started small. Jennifer rearranged the kitchen. "To help you, Maggie," she said. "Everything's easier to reach now." But really, she was making it hers. My coffee mugs went to the back of the cabinet. Hers went to the front. My grocery lists disappeared. Hers went on the refrigerator. Then they took over the den. "David needs an office," Jennifer said, "for job applications." I said, "Okay." I didn't use the den much anyway. Then the guest room. "The kids need separate bedrooms," Jennifer said. "They're getting older." Emma moved into the guest room. Lucas stayed in what used to be David's childhood room. I never pushed back. I didn't want to be the difficult mother-in-law, the one who made everything harder. I told myself it was temporary, 6 months, maybe a year. They'd get back on their feet, they'd move out. Things would go back to normal, but normal never came. My neighbor Barbara noticed. She'd lived next door for 15 years. We met at book club. She was 68, retired nurse, widow like me. We'd have coffee every Thursday morning on my front porch, except I stopped going to the front porch. Jennifer said the porch furniture was falling apart and threw it out. She never replaced it. Barbara started texting me instead. "Coffee tomorrow?" she'd ask. "Haven't seen you at book club. Miss you." I made excuses. I was tired. I had a headache. The truth was, I was disappearing. Slowly, carefully, room by room. I was being erased from my own life. Every morning at 6, I made coffee in the kitchen. I'd sit in the breakfast nook, my spot for 40 years, and watch the sunrise through the window. But now I heard them overhead. Footsteps in my bedroom. Jennifer's voice sharp. David's mumbled responses. My coffee grew cold while I sat there, invisible in my own home. I used to spend Saturday mornings in the garden, weeding, pruning the roses. Tom and I planted those roses in 1987. Now the garden was a toy graveyard. Plastic trucks, broken sidewalk chalk, forgotten balls. When I tried to clear a path to the roses, Jennifer called from the window, "Don't touch those. The kids are playing." Late at night, I'd look through the photo albums I kept in my bedroom closet. Our wedding, David's first birthday, family vacations, the house in every photo, the background of our lives. In one picture, Christmas, 1995, David was laughing, really laughing. His arm around me. I traced his face with my finger. When did I lose my son? There were red flags. I see that now. 6 months ago, Jennifer approached me. "Maggie, have you thought about downsizing to a smaller room? The master bedroom is awfully big for one person, and with David's back problems, he really needs a better mattress. The one in the guest room isn't supportive enough." I said no, firmly. "That's my bedroom. I've slept there for 40 years. Jennifer's smile disappeared. "I was just trying to help," she said. But I saw the anger in her eyes. The tension started then. She stopped including me in dinner plans, stopped asking if I needed anything from the store. The house got colder, not temperature, atmosphere. Emma and Lucas, 7 and 5 now, sweet kids, innocent. But they were learning to see Grandma as furniture, as something in the way. "Why does Grandma get the big room?" Lucas asked one day. "Because it's her house," David said quietly. "For now," Jennifer added, under her breath. But I heard it. That night I couldn't sleep. I went to the basement, looking for old tax returns, something to organize, something to control in a life that felt increasingly out of control. That's when I found it. The property deed, from 1984, in a file box under the stairs. I pulled it out. Dusty, yellowed, but clear. Margaret Anderson, sole owner. Tom had died before we'd gotten around to adding him to the title. We'd always meant to. We just never did. For 40 years, this house had been legally mine, just mine. I sat there on the basement floor, holding that piece of paper, and something shifted. Knowledge is power, they say. I was about to find out if that was true. The morning after I found the property deed, I woke up in the basement at 5:30. Cold. The concrete walls held the chill overnight. I could hear the furnace running upstairs, warm air rising. Down here, I needed 2 blankets. I made coffee. The house was quiet. Everyone still asleep. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I'd learned to use online banking a few years ago. David had helped me set it up after Tom died. "You need to be independent, Mom," he'd said then. Ironic. I logged in. 3 years of bank statements. I started scrolling. My Social Security, $1,200 a month. My teacher's pension, $1,800 a month. Every month for 3 years. Deposits clear, consistent. David's deposits? 0. Jennifer's deposits? 0. I checked the expenses. Groceries, $800 to $1,000 every month. All my account, electric bill, gas bill, water bill, internet, property taxes, home insurance, all my account, David's car insurance, $2,400 a year, my account, 3 years, not a single contribution from them. I sat there, looking at the numbers on the screen. Black and white, undeniable. They'd been living off me entirely, and somehow they'd convinced me that they were doing me a favor by being here. I heard footsteps overhead, the shower running, David getting ready for his warehouse job. He'd finally found work 6 months ago, $18 an hour. Not the business owner's salary he used to have, but it was something. He never mentioned helping with bills. I never asked. I didn't want to be difficult, but looking at these numbers, I realized something. Difficult wasn't the right word. Reasonable was. I closed the laptop when I heard Jennifer coming down the stairs. She walked into the kitchen, saw me at the table. "You're up early," she said. Her voice had that bright cheerfulness, the one that always felt like a weapon. "Couldn't sleep," I said. She poured herself coffee, sat across from me. "We need to talk about something." My chest tightened. Here it comes. "The kids are growing," Jennifer said. "They need more space. Lucas is 5 now. He can't share a room with Emma forever. We were thinking maybe we could convert the basement into a proper bedroom for you. Put up some walls, make it nice." I looked at her. "This is temporary, isn't it? That's what you said 3 years ago." She blinked. "Well, yes, but until David gets on his feet." "How long is that going to take?" "Maggie." Her voice sharpened. "We're trying. Do you have any idea how hard this has been for us? Losing everything? Having to move in here? David is working himself to death at that warehouse." "I'm asking about rent," I said quietly, "or contributing to utilities." Jennifer's face changed. The bright cheerfulness disappeared. "Are you seriously going to charge your own son after everything we do for you?" "What do you do for me?" "We moved you to a safer room," she said. Her voice was tight now, controlled. "We take care of the house. We cook. We clean." "I cook," I said. "I clean. This is my house." "Is it?" Jennifer leaned forward. "Because it feels like you're just a guest here now, Maggie. We're the ones living here, raising our family here. Maybe it's time to accept that things have changed." I said nothing. I couldn't. The words were stuck in my throat. Jennifer stood up. "Think about what I said, about the basement renovation. It would be better for everyone." She left. I sat there, hands shaking around my coffee cup. That afternoon I went to the mailbox, something I used to do every day, but lately Jennifer had been getting the mail. "I'm out front anyway," she'd say. "Might as well grab it." Today I beat her to it. Inside there was a property tax bill, addressed to me, Margaret Anderson. But the envelope was already open, torn. Jennifer had opened my mail. I stood there on the front porch, holding that opened envelope. How long had this been happening? "Maggie?" I turned. Barbara stood in her driveway, my neighbor, my friend. I hadn't talked to her in weeks. "Hey, stranger," Barbara said. She walked over. "Haven't seen you at book club." "I've been busy." "Busy in your own house?" Barbara looked at me, really looked at me. "Are you okay?" I wanted to say yes. I wanted to smile and wave and pretend everything was fine, but I couldn't. "No," I said quietly. "I'm not okay." Barbara took my hand. "Coffee. Tomorrow, my place. 9 a.m., we need to talk." I nodded. She squeezed my hand and went back inside. That evening, I went back to the basement. I needed to look at that property deed again, to make sure I hadn't imagined it, that it really said what I thought it said. I kept it in the file box under the stairs. I pulled it out, unfolded it. Margaret Anderson, sole owner. Purchased 1984. "Mom!" I jumped, spun around. David stood at the bottom of the stairs. "Sorry," he said. "Didn't mean to scare you." I folded the deed quickly, slipped it into my pocket. "What do you need? Jennifer said you two talked this morning." He wouldn't look at me, just like always. About the basement renovation. "She suggested it," I said carefully. "It makes sense, Mom. The kids need space, and you'd have a nicer room, more privacy." "I'd have concrete walls and no windows. It's temporary." His voice was so quiet, tired. "Just until we get back on our feet." I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he gotten so small, so defeated? "David," I said, "how long were you planning to stay?" "I don't know," he said. "A couple more years, maybe, until we save up enough for a down payment." "A couple more years." "Mom, please, don't make this harder than it is." "Harder for who?" He flinched. "I'm doing my best." "Are you?" I felt something crack open inside me, something I'd been holding back. Because from where I'm standing, you're letting Jennifer push me into corners. You're letting her take over my house, my life, and you won't even look me in the eye. David looked at me then. Finally, I saw it. The shame, the guilt, the exhaustion. "I know," he whispered. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I'm trapped. I don't know how to fix any of this. The business, the money, Jennifer, us. I'm drowning." For a moment, I wanted to hug him, to tell him it was okay, that we'd figure it out together. But then I heard Jennifer upstairs. "David, where are you? I need you." And just like that, he backed away. "I have to go," he said. "She's waiting." He went upstairs, left me there in the basement. Again. I pulled the property deed out of my pocket, looked at it. Margaret Anderson, sole owner. I realized something then. This wasn't just about a house. It was about power, control, dignity. They were taking mine bit by bit, room by room, day by day. But this piece of paper said something different. It said I had options. It said I had power I hadn't even used yet. I just had to figure out what to do with it. That night, after everyone went to bed, I sat in the basement. My phone buzzed. A text from Barbara. "Coffee tomorrow, 9 a.m., my place. Please come. I'm worried about you." I texted back. "I'll be there." I looked around the basement one more time. The cold concrete, the small window, the thin mattress. This was my house, my name on the deed, my decision what happened next. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew I couldn't keep living like this, invisible, erased, pushed further and further down until I disappeared completely. Something had to change, and maybe, just maybe, I was the one who had to change it. The next morning, I drove to Barbara's house. 9 a.m. She opened the door before I could knock. "Come in," she said. "Coffee's ready." We sat in her kitchen, sunlight through the windows, warm, safe. Everything my basement wasn't. "Talk to me," Barbara said. I told her everything. The basement, the birthday, Jennifer's control, David's weakness, the opened mail, the property deed. Barbara listened. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Maggie," she said finally, "this is elder abuse." The words hit me. Elder abuse. I'd heard the term, seen it on news programs, but that was other people, not me, not my own son. "I have a name for you," Barbara said. She wrote on a piece of paper. Susan Chen, elder law attorney. She helped my aunt 2 years ago with a similar situation. Call her. I took the paper, stared at it. "I don't know if I can." "You can," Barbara said firmly, "and you should, before this gets worse." I called Susan Chen that afternoon. Her receptionist scheduled me for the next day. "Bring any documentation you have," she said. "Property deeds, financial statements, anything relevant." Susan's office was downtown, professional building, 3rd floor. I took the elevator. My hands shook, holding the manila envelope with the property deed inside. The reception area was calm, soft lighting, comfortable chairs, a water cooler in the corner. I sat down, waited. 5 minutes felt like an hour. "Mrs. Anderson?" I looked up. A woman in her early 50s, dark hair pulled back, kind eyes, confident posture. "I'm Susan Chen," she said. She shook my hand. Firm grip. "Come on back." Her office was small but organized. Law books on shelves, a desk with neat stacks of folders, a framed photo of an older man, her grandfather, I'd learn later, on the corner. She gestured to a chair across from her desk. I sat. "Tell me what's going on," Susan said. I did. The whole story. Susan listened, took notes, didn't interrupt. When I finished, I pulled out the property deed, slid it across the desk. Susan picked it up, read it carefully. Her expression didn't change, but I saw something in her eyes. Recognition, understanding. "Mrs. Anderson," she said, "you own this house free and clear. Is that correct?" "Yes. Tom and I bought it in 1984. When he died, it became mine. We never added him to the title." "And your son, David, he's not on the deed? No co-ownership?" "No, just me." Susan set the deed down, looked at me. "Then let me be very clear. This is your house. You are the sole legal owner. Your son and his family are guests. They have no legal claim to this property. None." I felt something crack open inside me. Relief, validation, fear. "Can I sell it?" I asked quietly. "Yes," Susan said. "You can sell it. You can evict them. You can do whatever you want with your property. It's yours." "Without David's permission?" "Without anyone's permission," Susan said. "You don't need it. This is your asset, your decision." I sat there, holding that deed in my shaking hands. 40 years in that house. Tom and I bought it together. We painted every room. We built the deck. We planted the garden. I raised my children there. And now my son was pushing me into the basement like discarded furniture. But this piece of paper said I had power, legal power. The question was, did I have the courage to use it? "Mrs. Anderson?" Susan's voice was gentle. "Are you okay?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "This is my son, my grandchildren." "I understand," Susan said. "But ask yourself, is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? In a basement, watching your own home be taken from you?" I looked at her. "No." "Then let's talk about your options." Susan asked to see my financial records. I'd brought 3 years of bank statements, printed them out that morning. She spread them across her desk, went through them methodically. "Your Social Security and pension," she said. $1,200 and $1,800 monthly. That's your income?" "Yes. And these expenses," she pointed. "Groceries, utilities, property taxes, home insurance, all from your account?" "Yes." "Any contributions from David or Jennifer?" "No." Susan made notes, did quick calculations on her legal pad. "Over 3 years, you've provided approximately $133,000 in housing, food, and expenses. They've contributed 0. Hearing her say it, a professional, an attorney, made it real, undeniable. "That's financial exploitation," Susan said. "Elder financial abuse. It's illegal in Ohio." My hands felt cold. I didn't think of it that way. They're my family. "Family doesn't make it legal," Susan said gently. "Or right." Susan made a phone call, ordered an official title search from the county. "I want to make absolutely sure," she said. "No liens, no other claims. Clean title." The search came back in 2 days. Susan called me. "Mrs. Anderson, the title is clear. Margaret Anderson, sole owner. Property purchased 1984 for $89,000. Current market value estimated at $340,000. No mortgage, no liens, no secondary claims." $340,000. I'd had no idea. "If you decide to sell," Susan said, "that's what you're working with. Minus closing costs and realtor fees, you'd walk away with approximately $325,000. $325,000. Enough to buy a small condo, enough to invest and live comfortably, enough for freedom." Susan requested copies of my utility bills, all in my name: electric, gas, water, internet. 3 years of increased usage, a family of 5 versus a widow living alone, and I'd paid every penny, never reimbursed. She also asked for witness statements, people who'd observed the situation. Barbara wrote one immediately. She described how I'd disappeared from the front porch, from book, club, from neighborhood gatherings, how Jennifer had gradually taken over, how David had stopped making eye contact with people when they asked about me. My mailman, Jerry, provided a statement too. He'd noticed Jennifer intercepting mail addressed to me. Noticed the change in household dynamics over 3 years. 3 witnesses, 3 people who'd been watching, who'd seen what I'd been too close to see. "This is a clear pattern," Susan said when she reviewed everything. "Financial exploitation, isolation, control, progressive displacement. This isn't accidental, Mrs. Anderson. This is systematic." I left Susan's office that day with a folder full of documents, evidence, proof, and most importantly, a plan. Susan had explained the process. If I wanted to sell, I could list the house, accept an offer. At closing, I'd serve them with a 30-day eviction notice. Legally, they were guests, not tenants with a lease. They'd have to leave. "It's your right," Susan had said, "but it's not easy. This will damage your relationship with your son, possibly permanently." "It's already damaged," I said. That night, I walked through the house. Everyone was asleep. I moved room by room. The living room, Jennifer's throw pillows, her magazines, her decor. The dining room, her tablecloth, her centerpiece. The kitchen, her coffee mugs in front, mine in back. My bedroom, their bedroom now. I stood in the doorway, their clothes in the closet, their books on the nightstand, the room Tom and I had shared for 36 years until he died. Gone. Erased. I walked downstairs to the basement, sat on my thin mattress, looked around at the concrete walls. This was my house, my name on the deed, my decision what happened next. I thought about Susan's words. Is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? No. The answer was no. The next morning, I met Barbara for coffee again, this time at the cafe on Main Street, our old spot. "I'm going to sell the house," I said. Barbara reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "Thank God," she said. "I've been waiting for you to say that." "I'm scared," I admitted. "Of course you are," Barbara said, "but you're also strong, stronger than you think." I held my coffee cup, watched the foam swirl, felt the warmth in my hands. For the first time in 3 years, I felt something else too. Hope. Small. Fragile. But there. I was going to take my life back, one room at a time, starting with the whole house. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about Susan's words. Is this how you want to spend the rest of your life? At 5 a.m, I gave up trying. I got out of bed, went upstairs. The house was dark, silent, everyone asleep. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, my table, the same table where Tom and I used to plan our lives, where we'd drink coffee before work, where we'd help David with homework, where we'd celebrated 40 Christmases. I spread everything out in front of me. The property deed, Susan's business card, a photo of Tom, our wedding day, 1976, my notebook with calculations, $325,000, freedom, independence, a new life. The early morning light came through the window, soft, gray, the kind of light that makes you see things clearly. I picked up Tom's photo, looked at his face, young, smiling, confident. We'd had such plans. I remembered Christmas 1995. David was 20, home from college. The house was full, warm, the tree in the corner, lights twinkling. Tom was in the kitchen carving the turkey. David was laughing at something his sister Sarah had said. Snow falling outside. I stood in the doorway watching them, thinking, this is it. This is everything. That was 29 years ago. Tom was gone. Sarah lived 3 states away, and David was upstairs, letting his wife push his mother into a basement. How did we get here? I sat there with my coffee cooling, looking at those papers. 40 years in this house, 40 years of memories, birthday parties, holiday dinners, graduations, funerals, Tom's last breath in our bedroom upstairs. All of it happened here, in these walls. But I realized something. The house wasn't mine anymore. Not really. They'd taken it already, room by room, memory by memory. I was just a ghost haunting the basement. Tom and I built this home with love. It was supposed to be David's one day. We talked about it, sitting on the deck we built together, watching the sunset. When we're gone, Tom said, this house goes to David. He'll raise his kids here. We wanted that. Legacy, continuity, family home passing down generations. But not like this. Not by pushing me into a basement and stealing my dignity. Not by erasing me while I was still alive. If David wanted this house, he could buy his own. He could earn it, like Tom and I did. I sat there with those papers spread across the table. 40 years in this house. 40 years of memories. But I realized something. The house wasn't mine anymore. They'd taken it already. I was just making it official. Some decisions break your heart. You make them anyway. Grandma, I jumped, turned around. Emma stood in the doorway, 7 years old, pajamas, messy hair, rubbing her eyes. What are you doing up, sweetheart? I asked. I heard you, she said. She came over, climbed into my lap. Small, warm, innocent. Why do you sleep in the basement, Grandma? It's dark down. There. My throat tightened. It's just where I sleep now. Mommy says you like it there. I held her. This child, my granddaughter, being taught lies, being taught that Grandma choosing the basement was normal, natural, right. Emma, I said carefully, do you like the basement? She shook her head. It's scary, cold. Yeah, I said quietly. It is. Then why do you sleep there? I didn't know how to answer that. How do you tell a 7-year-old that her parents are slowly erasing her grandmother? That love and cruelty can exist in the same house? Sometimes grown-ups make decisions that don't make sense, I said. Emma looked at me with those big eyes. Are you sad, Grandma? Sometimes, I said honestly. She hugged me tight. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, baby. I heard footsteps upstairs. Jennifer waking up. Emma, where are you? Emma slipped off my lap. I gotta go, she whispered. She ran upstairs. I sat there alone again, looking at the papers on the table. That conversation with Emma, that innocence exposing the truth. She knew something was wrong. A 7-year-old child knew. I picked up my pen, opened my notebook, started writing. To-do list. 1. Call Jane Martinez, Realtor, Susan's referral. 2. Open separate bank account for sale proceeds. 3. Research condos in area. 1 bedroom, ground floor. 4. Change phone password. 5. Lock important documents. I stared at that list. These were concrete steps, action items, not wishes, not hopes, plans. I wasn't being conflict avoidant anymore. I wasn't prioritizing their comfort over my survival. I was choosing myself. For the first time in 3 years, maybe the first time in my life, I was choosing myself. I heard David's alarm go off upstairs. 6 a.m. He'd be down soon, getting ready for work. I gathered the papers quickly, the deed, the photo, Susan's card, put them in a folder. I needed a safe place, somewhere they wouldn't find them. I went to the basement, found an old lockbox in the storage area. Tom had used it for important documents, birth certificates, passports. The combination was our wedding anniversary. I opened it, put the folder inside, locked it, hid it behind boxes. The property deed was secure. My plan was secure. Now I just had to execute it. I went back upstairs, started breakfast. Pancakes, Emma's favorite. By the time Jennifer came down, I was flipping them on the griddle, acting normal, like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. Jennifer poured coffee, sat at the table. You're up early, she said. Couldn't sleep, I said. True enough. We need to talk about the basement renovation, Jennifer said. I got some quotes. We could have it done in a month. I don't think that's necessary, I said calmly. Maggie, it's for your safety, and it would increase the house value. I turned around, looked at her. I said, no, Jennifer. She blinked, surprised. I never pushed back, never said no firmly. This was new territory. I'm just trying to help, she said. Her voice had an edge. I know what you're trying to do, I said quietly, and the answer is no. David came downstairs then, sensing the tension. What's going on? Nothing, Jennifer said quickly. She looked at me, a warning in her eyes. Don't make waves. But I was done not making waves. Waves were coming whether she liked it or not. That afternoon, after David left for work and Jennifer took the kids to school, I called Jane Martinez, the realtor. This is Margaret Anderson, I said. Susan Chen gave me your name. I need to list my house, but it has to be discreet. My son and his family are living there and they don't know yet. There was a pause. Then Jane said, I understand. This isn't the first time I've handled a situation like this. Can we meet? Yes, I said. Tomorrow, coffee shop on Main Street, 2 p.m. I'll be there, Jane said. Bring your property deed if you have it. I do, I said. I hung up, sat there. My heart was pounding. This was real now. I'd set things in motion. There was no going back. I looked around the kitchen. My kitchen for 40 years. Soon it wouldn't be mine anymore. It would belong to someone new, a young family, people who would love it, care for it, make their own memories. And I would be somewhere else. Somewhere smaller, but somewhere mine. Somewhere I could drink my coffee in peace. Somewhere I could sleep in a real bedroom. Somewhere I could exist without apologizing. That evening, I was in the basement folding laundry when David came down. He stood there awkwardly, hands in his pockets. Mom, he said, are you okay? You seemed different today. I looked at him, my son, 45 years old, lost, weak, trapped. I'm figuring some things out, I said carefully. Jennifer said you've been difficult. Difficult, I repeated. Is that what she calls it when I say no? David flinched. She's under a lot of stress. So am I said quietly. He started to say something, opened his mouth. I saw it in his eyes, a crack, a moment of conscience. Mom, David, Jennifer's voice from upstairs, sharp, demanding. I need you up here. The moment was gone. David's expression closed off. I have to go, he said. He backed toward the stairs. David, I said. He paused. Do you ever wonder how we got here? He looked at me, sad, defeated. Every day, he whispered. Then he went upstairs. I sat there in the basement, alone, but not powerless, not anymore. I had a plan now. I had a realtor. I had a locked box with my property deed. I had $325,000 waiting for me on the other side of this. The house was going on the market. David and Jennifer just didn't know it yet. I met Jane Martinez the next afternoon at the coffee shop on Main Street, 2 p.m. She was already there when I arrived. Professional, put together, late 50s, kind smile. Margaret? She said, standing up to shake my hand. Call me Maggie, I said. We sat down. Jane pulled out a folder. All business. Susan Chen told me about your situation, Jane said. I want you to know this isn't uncommon. I've helped several clients sell homes while family members were still living there. It requires discretion, but it's doable. I handed her the property deed. She examined it carefully. Sole owner, she said. That makes things simpler. We can list this quietly. Schedule showings when your son and his family are out. It'll take coordination, but we can do it. How long does it usually take? I asked. In this market, 4-bedroom homes like yours are in demand. I'd estimate 2 to 4 weeks for offers, then 45 days to close. 6 to 10 weeks. I could keep a secret for 6 to 10 weeks. Maybe. Jane asked about the house, square footage, updates, condition. I answered everything. She took notes. "I'll do a market analysis," she said, "but based on comparable properties, I'd list at $350,000. You'll likely get offers at or above asking." $350,000, more than Susan's estimate. "When can we start?" I asked. "I'll have the paperwork ready tomorrow," Jane said. "We'll list it next week. I'll coordinate showings carefully. Mornings when they're at work and school?" "Yes," I said. "Tuesdays and Thursdays, David works 8 to 4. Jennifer usually takes the kids to school at 8:15, then runs errands until noon." Jane made notes. "Perfect. We'll work around their schedule." Over the next 3 weeks, Jane showed the house 7 times, always carefully, always when David and Jennifer were out. The first showing was terrifying. I watched from my car parked down the street. A young couple walked up to my front door. Jane let them in. They were inside for 20 minutes. I sat there, heart pounding, praying David wouldn't come home early. He didn't. The second showing, I stayed at Barbara's house. Couldn't watch. Barbara made me tea, held my hand. "It's going to work," she said. "Trust the process." The third showing, Jennifer almost came home early. Emma was sick. School called. I got a text from Jane. "Wrapping up, 5 minutes." I texted Jennifer, "I can pick up Emma, give you a break." She agreed. I picked up Emma from school, took her to get ice cream. By the time we got home, Jane's car was gone. Close call. 3 offers came in within 2 weeks. Jane called me. "Maggie, you have 3 strong offers, all above asking. I'd recommend the young couple from the first showing, Mike and Sarah Chen. They're pre-approved, cash down payment, flexible timeline, $338,000. $338,000. Take it," I said. Jane set the closing date. 45 days, November 18th. The countdown began. 2 weeks after I accepted the offer, David approached me. It was evening. Jennifer had taken the kids to a birthday party, just David and me in the house. "Mom," he said, "can we talk?" We sat at the kitchen table. He looked nervous, guilty. "I've been thinking," David said, "about the house, about the future, estate planning. When something happens to you, there could be complications. Probate, taxes." I knew where this was going. "I talked to Jennifer," he continued, "and we think it would be smart to add my name to the deed, just for protection. So when the time comes, everything's smooth." I looked at my son, really looked at him, trying to take my house while I was still alive, not even subtle about it. "No," I said. David blinked. "Mom, it's just paperwork. It protects both of us." "No," I said again firmly. "This house is mine, my name, my decision." "You're being unreasonable," David said. His voice had an edge, frustration. "I'm being clear," I said. "The answer is no." He stood up. "I'm trying to help you, and you're making everything difficult." "Difficult," I repeated. "That's what you call it when I protect what's mine." David left the kitchen. I heard him go upstairs, heard him talking to Jennifer on the phone. Their voices, angry, blaming me. But I didn't care anymore. They could be angry. The house was selling. They just didn't know it yet. A week later, Jennifer sat me down. Her turn. "Maggie, we need to discuss living arrangements," she said. "This isn't working. You in the basement. The tension. We need to come to an agreement." "I'm listening," I said. "Here's what we're proposing," Jennifer said. "You can move back to the main floor. We'll take the basement, give you your space back." It sounded reasonable for about 5 seconds. But Jennifer continued, "We need you to contribute to household expenses. We've been carrying the mortgage." "There's no mortgage," I said. "The house is paid off." Jennifer didn't miss a beat. "Fine, then property taxes, insurance, maintenance, $1,200 a month. That's more than fair for a bedroom and shared living space." I stared at her. She wanted me to pay rent in my own house, to live in my own bedroom. "You want me to pay you $1,200 a month," I said slowly, "to live in my own house." "To contribute to the household," Jennifer corrected. "We all have to pull our weight." "I've been pulling my weight for 3 years," I said. $133,000 worth. Jennifer's face hardened. "If you're going to throw that in our faces—" "I'm not throwing anything," I said quietly. "I'm stating facts." "So is that a no?" Jennifer asked, her voice cold now. "That's a no," I said. Jennifer stood up. "Then maybe we need to discuss other options, like assisted living. There are some very nice facilities." "I'm 70 years old and perfectly healthy," I said. "I'm not going to assisted living." "Your blood pressure is high," Jennifer said. "Your doctor said—" "My doctor said I need to reduce stress," I said, "and you're not helping." Jennifer left, slammed the door. I sat there shaking, not from fear, from rage, cold, clear rage. They'd tried twice now, tried to manipulate me, control me, take what was mine. But in 6 weeks, it would be over. 6 more weeks. The close call came 3 weeks before closing. Jane had scheduled a final walkthrough. The buyers wanted to see the house one more time. Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m., David at work, Jennifer at the gym, kids at school. Perfect timing, except Emma got sick again. School called Jennifer at 1:30. Jennifer came home at 1:45. Jane's car was in the driveway. The buyers were inside. I was at the grocery store. Jennifer called me. "Maggie, whose car is in the driveway?" Jennifer's voice was sharp, suspicious. My heart stopped. "What? There's a car, a woman in our house. Who is she?" Think fast. "Oh," I said, trying to sound casual. "That's probably the pest inspector. I called someone. Thought I heard termites in the basement. Wanted to make sure." Silence. Then, "You called a pest inspector?" "I didn't want to worry you," I said. "It's probably nothing." "I'm home now," Jennifer said. "I'll talk to her." I hung up. Texted Jane immediately. "Jennifer home, play along, pest inspector." 3 minutes of agony. Then Jane texted back, "Handled, leaving now. She bought it." I sat in my car in the grocery store parking lot, breathing. That was too close. Too close. That night, my blood pressure spiked. I could feel it. Pounding headache, dizziness. I took my medication, lay down in the basement, tried to breathe. The next morning, I had a doctor's appointment. Dr. Morrison took my blood pressure, frowned. 150/95, she said. "Maggie, this is too high. You need to reduce stress immediately." "I'm trying," I said. "What's going on?" she asked. She'd been my doctor for 15 years. She knew me. I told her. Some of it. The basement, the tension. She listened. "This living situation isn't healthy," Dr. Morrison said. "You need to make a change." "I am," I said. "I just need to hold on a little longer." She prescribed stronger medication. 6 weeks, I told myself. 6 weeks. I went to book club that Thursday. First time in 2 months, at Barbara's house. 4 of us, Barbara, Ruth, Linda, and Carol. Women I'd known for years. We talked about the book for 10 minutes. Then Barbara said, "Maggie has something to tell you." I looked at her. She nodded. Encouraging. I told them. The whole story. The basement, the birthday, the property deed, the sale. Ruth's eyes went wide. "You're selling the house out from under them?" "It's my house," I said. "But they're your family," Carol said. She looked uncomfortable. "Your grandchildren." "They put her in a basement," Barbara said firmly, "on her birthday." "Maybe it was. Just practical," Linda said. "The kids needed space." "Whose side are you on?" Barbara interrupted. "I'm not on sides," Linda said. "I'm just saying this seems extreme." I felt my chest tighten. Even here, even my friends, some of them thought I was wrong. "I'm not asking for opinions," I said quietly. "I'm telling you what I'm doing. I needed to tell someone. People who know me." Ruth reached over, squeezed my hand. "I support you," she said. "This took courage." "So do I," Barbara said. Carol and Linda were quiet, but they didn't leave. We finished book club, talked about other things, but the elephant was in the room. I drove home that night thinking, not everyone will understand, and that's okay. I'm not doing this for them. 3 weeks before closing, I started packing, slowly, carefully, things they wouldn't notice missing. I packed a box of Tom's letters, our wedding album, my mother's ring, David's baby book, photos, things that mattered, things that were mine. I hid the boxes in the basement storage area, behind old Christmas decorations. They never went back there. One night, I was packing when I heard footsteps on the stairs. I shoved the box behind me. David appeared. "Hey, Mom," he said. "What are you doing?" "Just organizing," I said. "Too much clutter down here." He looked at the boxes, at me, suspicious. "You're acting weird," he said. "I'm cleaning," I said. "That's not weird." He stared at me for another moment, then left. I sat there, breathing hard. 18 days. I just needed 18 more days. I watched from the basement window one afternoon. David was in the backyard with Emma and Lucas, pushing them on the swings. Their laughter carried down to me. He'd been a good father. Once upon a time, a good son. I remembered him at 8 years old, helping me plant tomatoes in that same yard, dirt on his nose. So proud when his first tomato grew. When did I lose him, or did he lose himself? I pressed my forehead against the cold glass. Watch them play. This was the cost. This was what I was giving up. Afternoons like this, watching my son with his children, being part of their lives. But was I really part of their lives now? Or was I just furniture? A burden? Someone to hide in the basement? Emma ran to the house, came back with a cookie. She looked toward the basement window, waved. I waved back. She still loved me. That child, that innocent child. 16 days. I could do this. I had to do this. The house was selling. My freedom was coming. I just had to hold on. November 18th, closing day. I woke up at 5 a.m. Couldn't sleep. My heart was pounding. Today was the day. After 3 years, after 3 months of planning, today I was taking my life back. I got dressed, carefully, a navy blue blouse, gray slacks, professional, composed. I looked at myself in the basement mirror, 70 years old, tired but determined. I went upstairs, made coffee. David was already in the kitchen, getting ready for work. "Morning, Mom," he said, barely looking at me, same as always. "David," I said, "we need to talk." He looked up, surprised. I never initiated conversations anymore. I'd learned to stay quiet, stay invisible. "I need you and Jennifer to meet me somewhere today," I said. 2 p.m. "Mom, I have work." "Take the afternoon off," I said. "This is important." "What's this about?" David asked. Wary now. "Estate planning," I said. The lie came easily. "I met with an attorney, Susan Chen. We need to discuss some documents. Both of you need to be there." David frowned. "Can it wait?" "No," I said firmly. "It can't." Jennifer came downstairs then, heard the last part. "What can't wait?" "Mom wants us to meet her at 2 p.m., David said. Something about estate planning. Jennifer's eyes narrowed. "What attorney?" "Susan Chen," I said. "Elder law. I have some documents that need signing." Jennifer looked at David, then at me, calculating, suspicious. But she couldn't refuse. Not when I framed it as estate planning. They'd been pushing me to get my affairs in order for months. "Fine," Jennifer said. "Where?" I handed her a piece of paper. The address, Susan's office building, downtown. 2 p.m., I said. "Don't be late?" I left before they could ask more questions, drove to Barbara's house. I couldn't stay in that house, not today, not for the next 6 hours. Barbara made me breakfast, eggs, toast. I couldn't eat. "You're doing the right thing," Barbara said. "Then why do I feel sick?" I asked. "Because it's hard," Barbara said. "Necessary doesn't mean easy." At 1:30, I drove downtown, parked in the garage, took the elevator to the 3rd floor, Susan's office. She was waiting for me in the conference room. "Ready?" Susan asked. No, I said honestly, but let's do it anyway. Jane was already there, the realtor. She smiled at me, reassuring, professional. The buyers arrived at 1:45, Mike and Sarah Chen, early 30s, excited, nervous, buying their first house. They had no idea what was about to happen. The title company representative arrived, Ms. Patricia Walsh, all business, papers stacked in front of her, purchase agreement, title transfer, closing documents, everything was ready. At 2 p.m., David and Jennifer arrived. They walked into the conference room, saw everyone, confused. Mom, what's going on? David asked. Who are all these people? Susan stood up, extended her hand. I'm Susan Chen, Mrs. Anderson's attorney. Please sit down. David and Jennifer sat, still confused, looking at me, at the strangers, at the papers on the table. We're here today for the closing on 847 Maple Street, Susan said calmly, the property owned by Margaret Anderson. Closing? David said. What closing? Your mother has sold the house, Susan said. She gestured to Mike and Sarah. These are the buyers, Mr. and Mrs. Chen. The room went silent, completely silent. David stared at me. What? I sold the house, I said. My voice was steady, calmer than I expected. 3 months ago. Today is closing day. You can't do that, Jennifer said. Her voice was sharp, angry. We live there. That's our home. It's my house, I said. My name on the deed. My decision. Susan slid the property deed across the table, toward David and Jennifer. As you can see, Margaret Anderson is the sole legal owner. She has every right to sell. Jennifer snatched the deed. Read it. Her face went white, then red. This is insane. You can't just sell a house out from under your own family. Actually, she can, Susan said, and she did. David looked at me, really looked at me. I saw it, the shock, the betrayal, the realization. Mom, he said quietly, where are we supposed to go? You're 45 years old, David, I said. You'll figure it out, like I have to. We have kids, Jennifer said. She was standing now, furious. You're kicking your own grandchildren out onto the street? You're not on the street, Susan said calmly. Mrs. Anderson is providing 30 days' notice. That's more than legally required for guests without a lease. She slid another document across the table. The eviction notice, official, legal, typed. 30 days from today, Susan continued. December 18th. If you're not vacated by then, the sheriff will enforce removal. Jennifer looked at the document, at me. We'll fight this. You're not competent. Memory issues. We've seen the signs. Mrs. Anderson has been evaluated by a medical professional, Susan interrupted. She's fully competent, mentally sound. This sale is legal. This eviction is legal. Jane spoke up then. The buyers are here. The paperwork is ready. The funds have been transferred. The house is sold. Patricia Walsh, the title representative, nodded. The property transfer is complete. Mrs. Anderson has received payment. She handed me a check, $325,612, after closing costs, after realtor fees, my freedom, my future, on a piece of paper. David's face crumbled. Mom, please don't do this. We have nowhere to go. You had 3 years to find somewhere, I said. You chose to stay, to take over my house, to put me in a basement on my birthday. It was safer for you, Jennifer said. The stairs. It was about control, I said. My voice was steady, strong. You wanted me out of the way. You wanted my house. You got comfortable. You thought I'd just accept it. Stay quiet, stay invisible, die quietly in the basement and leave you. Everything. That's not true, David said, but his voice was weak. Isn't it? I looked at him. When's the last time you asked me how I was doing? When's the last time you sat down and had a real conversation with me? When's the last time you looked me in the eye? David couldn't answer. He looked down, ashamed. You let Jennifer push me into a basement, I said. You let her open my mail, take over my kitchen, erase me from my own life. You're my son, and you let it happen. I'm sorry, David whispered, tears in his eyes now. Mom, I'm so sorry. I was weak. I didn't know what to do. Everything fell apart and I let Jennifer handle everything. I was drowning. I know that's not an excuse. I know I failed you. I felt something crack inside me, seeing him break, my son, my baby boy. But I held firm. You did fail me, I said quietly, and I can't live with that anymore. Jennifer wasn't crying. She was calculating, angry. Fine. You want us out? We'll go. But don't expect to ever see Emma and Lucas again. You've made your choice. I've made my choice to survive, I said. You made yours when you put me in that basement. We did everything for you. Jennifer's voice was rising, losing control. We let you stay in your house. We could have pushed for assisted living. We could have had you declared incompetent. We were being generous. The words hung there, revealing, damning. Susan raised an eyebrow. Thank you for that admission, Mrs. Anderson. Jennifer realized what she'd said, closed her mouth. Too late. Mike and Sarah, the buyers, looked uncomfortable. This wasn't what they'd expected from a house closing. Patricia Walsh kept her professional composure, but I saw the sympathy in her eyes. For me. The eviction notice is official, Susan said. You have 30 days. I recommend you use them wisely. Find housing, pack your belongings. If you're not out by December 18th, law enforcement will assist with removal. She handed David a business card. Jane Martinez, the realtor, has compiled a list of rental properties in your price range. She's willing to help with your search. Jane slid a folder across the table. David took it, numbly. I think we're done here, Susan said. David stood up, slowly, defeated. He looked at me one more time. I hope you can forgive me someday, he said. I don't forgive myself. He walked out. Jennifer followed. At the door, she turned back. This isn't over, she said. Yes, I said quietly. It is. They left. The room was silent for a moment. Then Patricia spoke. Well, that was intense. I'm sorry you had to witness that, I said to Mike and Sarah, the young couple, the buyers. It's okay, Sarah said gently. We're sorry for what you've been through. We signed the remaining papers, official documents, title transfer, keys handed over. The house was theirs now. When the title representative handed me the check, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired, relieved, and something like grief. This wasn't how it was supposed to end, but it was ending, and I was still standing. After Mike and Sarah left, Susan looked at me. How are you feeling? I don't know, I said honestly. Ask me in a month. You did the right thing, Susan said. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you did. Jane gave me a hug. You were so strong in there, she said. I'm proud of you. Barbara was waiting for me in the parking garage. She'd stayed nearby, just in case. It's done, I said. How do you feel? She asked. Like I just survived something, I said. You did, Barbara said. Come on, let's get you home. I don't have a home, I said. The realization hitting me. Not anymore. You have my guest room until you find a place, Barbara said. You're not alone, Maggie. You're not alone. I got in her car, drove away from Susan's office building, away from David and Jennifer, away from the confrontation. The check was in my purse. $325,000, freedom, independence, a fresh start. But it had cost me my son, my grandchildren, my family home, 40 years of memories. Some victories don't feel like victories. They feel like survival. And right now, that was enough. The 30 days passed slowly, and then they were gone. David and Jennifer found a 2-bedroom apartment, 20 minutes away, smaller, $1,800 a month. David kept his warehouse job, Jennifer started working again, retail, part-time, not the sales manager position she used to have. The kids transferred schools mid-year. On December 18th, moving day, I didn't go to the house. I stayed at Barbara's, watched from a distance, literally and emotionally. Barbara texted me updates. Truck's here. They're loading furniture. Jennifer looks angry. David looks sad. Kids look confused. At 4 p.m., Barbara texted again. They're gone. House is empty. I cried then, not from joy, from grief. Complicated, messy grief. This was my son, my grandchildren, and I'd had to choose myself over them to survive. 2 weeks after the move, I met Susan Chen at her office. Follow-up appointment, estate planning. How are you holding up? Susan asked. I'm standing, I said. That counts for something. Susan smiled. It counts for a lot. We set up a living trust. My assets, the proceeds from the house sale, my retirement accounts, everything would be divided equally between David and Sarah, my daughter, but protected. Jennifer couldn't touch David's share directly. It would be managed by a trustee. I established education funds for Emma and Lucas, $20,000 each, accessible at 18 for college only, managed by Sarah, not David. If something happens to me tomorrow, I told Susan, Jennifer can't touch a penny, but my grandchildren will have college money, and David will have his inheritance. Protected. Susan updated my medical directives too. Sarah was now my healthcare proxy, not David. This gives me peace of mind, I said. You've done the right thing, Susan said. In 20 years of elder law, you're one of the few clients who took control before it was too late. Most wait until they're completely powerless. You didn't. You should be proud. I wasn't sure about proud, but I felt something. Relief, maybe, or just less afraid. 3 weeks after closing, Barbara helped me move into my new condo. 1 bedroom, ground floor, small patio, 800 square feet. I'd paid $145,000 in cash, no mortgage. The rest of the money, $180,000, was invested with a financial advisor Susan recommended. Jane Martinez, the realtor, had found the condo for me, negotiated a good price, quick close. She'd been professional, kind, efficient. At the condo closing, Jane handed me the keys. This is a fresh start, Maggie, she said. You earned it. A week later, a package arrived. From Jane, a small plant in a ceramic pot. The card read, New roots for a new beginning. Jane. I put the plant on my patio, watered it, watched it grow. Barbara was there for everything. The packing, the moving, the unpacking. The first night in the new place when I sat on my couch and cried. It's okay to grieve, Barbara said, even when you did the right thing. We had book club at my place 4 weeks later, my small living room. 4 women squeezed onto my couch and chairs. Wine, snacks. The book we were supposed to discuss, we spent 10 minutes on it. The rest of the time, we talked about life, about hard choices, about being women in our 60s and 70s and refusing to disappear. This place suits you, Mags, Barbara said, looking around. It's bright, manageable, and it's yours, every single inch of it. I looked around too. My furniture, my photos on the walls, my coffee mugs in the cabinet, mine. Yeah, I said, it is. The consequences for David and Jennifer were immediate, real, painful. They'd been living rent-free for 3 years. Now they paid $1,800 a month. David's warehouse salary barely covered it. Jennifer's retail job helped, but they were struggling. No savings, no cushion. The kids adjusted. Emma and Lucas were resilient, but they had to switch schools. Smaller classrooms, fewer resources. Jennifer resented it, publicly. She told people, neighbors, friends, other parents, that I'd kicked them out, that I'd chosen money over family. Some people believed her, judged me, looked at me differently at the grocery store. But some people knew the truth. Barbara made sure of that. Not aggressively, just honestly. When people asked, she told them what really happened. The basement, the birthday, the control. David didn't contact me for 6 weeks. Then, an email. Mom, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I was weak. I let Jennifer push you around. I let myself believe we were entitled to your home, your money, your space. The truth is, I failed. My business, my family, my responsibilities. And instead of facing it, I made you pay the price. You deserved better. You always deserve better. I'm sorry. I understand if you never want to see me again. I just needed you to know I see it now. I see what I did. David. I read the email 3 times, cried twice, then wrote back, David, I appreciate your apology. I love you, but I need space. When you're ready to have a relationship based on mutual respect, not need, not convenience, we can talk. Until then, take care of your family, make better choices. Mom. I hit send, sat there. That was all I could give him right now. Maybe someday more, but not today. My financial situation stabilized quickly. The condo cost me $145,000. I had $180,000 invested. Monthly income, Social Security, pension, and investment returns gave me about $3,600 a month. Expenses, HOA, utilities, groceries, insurance, about $1,800. I was comfortable, secure. No longer supporting David's family saved me $2,500 a month. I could breathe financially for the first time in 3 years. The community reaction was mixed. Some people thought I was harsh. Those poor children, they said. Some people supported me. She had every right, they said. Most people just didn't know what to think. I stopped caring what people thought. I'd learned something. I don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing to survive. 6 weeks after moving into the condo, I drove past the old house. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe, or closure. Mike and Sarah, the young couple who bought it, were in the front yard. He was mowing the lawn. She was planting flowers in the bed I used to tend. A kid's bike on the front porch. Laughter from the open windows. The house looked happy, lived in, loved. I felt something I didn't expect. Relief. The house was a home again, just not mine. And that was okay. I drove to my condo, parked, went inside, my 1 bedroom, my small space, mine. That evening, I sat in my living room, the TV on low, book club book in my lap. I could hear neighbors on the patio, someone laughing, a dog barking, normal sounds. But the silence inside was different. In the basement, silence had been imposed, forced, lonely. This silence was chosen. I could turn on music if I wanted, call Barbara, make noise, or sit quietly. My choice. That made all the difference. I planted a small herb garden on my patio. Basil, rosemary, thyme, in pots. Not the big garden I used to have, but mine. I could tend it without anyone telling me I was in the way. I hung Tom's photo in the living room. Our wedding picture. Prominent. Not hidden in a basement. I set up a small desk in the corner. My space. For genealogy research, writing letters, whatever I wanted. I bought new bedding, queen size, floral pattern I chose, not someone else's choice. These small things, these tiny reclamations, they mattered. Some days were hard. I missed my grandchildren. I worried about Emma and Lucas. I hoped they were okay. I hoped someday they'd understand. But I was free. I woke up every morning in a bed I chose, in a home I owned, with no one telling me I was in the way. I drank my coffee in peace. I made my own decisions. The house was gone, but I was still here. And that's what mattered. 6 months later, I live in a 1-bedroom condo, ground floor, small patio with an herb garden. It's quiet, manageable. Mine. My routine. Coffee at 6 a.m. on the patio. Newspaper. Bird sounds. No footsteps overhead. No one moving my coffee mugs. No one telling me I'm in the way. I go to book club every month. Barbara's house or mine. We rotate. The group knows my story now. Some of them have their own versions. Adult children taking advantage. Slow erasures. We talk about it. Support each other. I volunteer at the library twice a week, shelving books. helping seniors with computers, small contributions, but mine to give. My relationship with David, we have coffee once a month, neutral territory, a cafe downtown, conversation is careful, polite. We're rebuilding, slowly. He's in therapy now, working on himself, on standing up to Jennifer. It's progress, small, but something. Jennifer. No direct contact. She still forbids the kids from seeing me without supervision. I respect that boundary. For now. Emma and Lucas. Supervised visits started 3 months ago, once a month, at a park. Jennifer watches from a distance. The kids are cautious, confused, but they still hug me. That's enough for now. My daughter, Sarah. We talk every week. She visited twice. Our relationship is stronger than it's ever been. She said, "Mom, I'm proud of you. I wish I'd known sooner." Barbara. She texts me every morning. Coffee? Sometimes I say yes, sometimes no. The choice is mine. I'm 70 years old. I live alone. Some days are lonely, but lonely is different from invisible. I'm not erased anymore. Some days I still can't believe it happened. That my own son put me in a basement, that I had to sell my home to reclaim my dignity. But I'm here. I'm standing. And nobody's going to tell me I'm in the way ever again. My health improved, blood pressure stabilized, I sleep better, stress reduced. My doctor says I'm doing well. Financially, I'm comfortable. The investments are growing. I have savings, security, independence. This condo isn't the 4-bedroom house I raised my family in. It's smaller, simpler, but it's mine, every inch. I chose the paint color. I hung the pictures. Nobody can tell me where to sleep. That's worth more than square footage. I shared my story at the senior center last month. A social worker invited me. 30 people in the room. I told them what happened, how to recognize the signs, how to protect yourself. 3 women approached me afterward. They recognized their own situations. I gave them Susan's number, elder law attorney. Know your rights. Check your deeds. I volunteer with an elder advocacy group now, once a month, helping others navigate what I went through. It gives me purpose. The education funds for Emma and Lucas are secure, $20,000 each. They'll have college money, no matter what happens between me and their parents. That's my legacy to them. Not a house, an education, a future. My message to others. If you're living in your child's home and feeling like a burden, check the deed. Know your rights. Family doesn't mean submission. Love doesn't mean erasure. It's never too late to choose yourself. Looking back, I see the red flags I ignored, the small requests that became demands, the temporary arrangement that became permanent, the helping you language that became controlling you. I thought being a good mother meant sacrificing everything, staying quiet, keeping the peace. I learned it means teaching your children to stand on their own, even if the lesson comes late, even if it costs you the relationship. If you're listening to this and recognizing your own life, you're not alone, you're not powerless, you have options. Check your property deed. Know what's in your name. Knowledge is power. Talk to an elder law attorney. Most offer free consultations. Susan Chen saved my life. There are attorneys like her everywhere. Set boundaries, say no. You're allowed to protect what's yours. And if you know someone in a similar situation, share this story. Maybe it will help them see they have choices too. What would you have done in my situation? Was I too harsh? Too soft? Let me know in the comments. I'm 70 years old. I live in a 1-bedroom condo with a small patio. I see my grandchildren once a month under tense circumstances. My son barely speaks to me outside our monthly coffee. Some people think I was wrong. And you know what? I'm free. I wake up every morning in a bed I chose, in a home I own, with no one telling me I'm in the way. I drink my coffee in peace. I make my own decisions. I'm not erased. The house is gone. But I'm still here. And that's what matters. Barbara brought me a casserole yesterday, tuna noodle, my favorite. We sat on my patio and laughed until we cried. I'm building a new life. It's smaller, but it's mine.